Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here and welcome to another Precious Metal Ramble. We are joined today by Lior Gantz, who is the founder of wealthresearchgroup.com, a seasoned silver stacker and investor, not just in physical, but in all things silver and markets, certainly relating to the precious metal world. And he's here today to have a bit of a Precious Metal Ramble about that precious metal world, which is going pretty mad at the moment, isn't it, Lior?
Yeah, it's going good.
It's going good. If you've been a buyer of silver for a long time like we have, life's pretty good right now, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's certainly very surreal, especially for someone like me that learned about this from Mike Maloney
Uh-huh.
back in like 2008, 2009.
God, you got in
And
a lot earlier than I did. But although, having said that, presumably if you got in at that point, you maybe rode that first big spike in prices. In 2011, we saw, of course, the huge spike.
actually, I did.
Yeah.
And then my honeymoon came up, and that's how I funded my honeymoon.
Amazing. So you sold at the peak and then
I
a
sold
little
it
bit.
42 to 44
Okay.
in
So,
2011.
oh, that's good.
2010, 2011,
Because, do
whatever
you
it
know,
was.
as much as it's amazing right now for silver to be up so high and we're all enjoying these really nice highs, we've got to remember that there are some investors out there who are only just about breaking even right now because they were buying at that peak with the premiums on top. And now, of course, they're only just coming good after nearly 15 years of investing. But you got in at
True.
the good time, sold at a good time, and then you've been investing ever since, I suppose, as well.
Yes. I made a pretty large purchase, both gold and silver. Do you remember in 2018,
Mm.
there was a big slump from March till September, and in September, the markets hit an all-time high. The markets and precious metal hit a big low. In fact, gold dropped to 1180
Yeah.
dollars an ounce, and I made a big purchase of gold and silver. And in hindsight, if you look to September 2018, that was the bottom.
Yeah.
So it was miraculously timed.
It's
Um,
it's amazing how far it's come, really, isn't it? Where do you think? I mean, obviously, not giving financial advice for the futures of silver and
mhm.
gold, but this feels different to any other rises we've seen before, doesn't it? Where do you think it could go in terms of prices?
It's a great question, and obviously the most frequent one I get. I would say, first of all, um, I do a lot of thinking about this and research and analysis. One thing that I put together before the interview for your viewers
Mm,
is a report about primarily silver and how it would behave in 2026 in light of the known catalyst for it, which you can download right now at
good.
wealthresearchgroup.com / 2026 silver or 2026 silver.
Yeah.
The reason I give that URL out is because it gives there's more information plus graphs, charts, etc.
Yeah.
that you can go on.
Your interpretation of where things are going to go, really. And I'll put a link to that down in the description box below if people are struggling to remember the URL you just wrote. But there is a link down in the description. I've been a subscriber of your newsletters for a while, and
Good.
it's always
Thank you.
great information. So
Yeah,
go and check it
I
out.
I think in general, it is the first thing you mentioned was that it's very different, and it is very different.
Yeah,
Um, um, because silver this year is up, I think, around 120%. It's its second best year.
it's amazing.
Uh, Only 1979 with 433% was better. There was one year of 2010, it was 76%, and 2006 was 46%. But I think the big difference is that 1979 was at the end of recalibration to the new financial system that was introduced in 1971.
Hmm.
Whereas 2025 was an introduction not of a new financial system, but of a new trading system around the world with Liberation Day.
Okay.
Liberation Day effectively ends the the use of the dollar in the post 2008 world,
Yeah.
because 2008 introduced the over um, reliance on central banks to run the economy. And uh, the tariffs effectively take back control over a country's sovereignty, currency, and future away from a central bank or the bureaucracy in general. Before 2008, between 1993 and 2008, in the post-Soviet world, the dollar spread across the globe.
Yeah.
And so effectively what COVID-19 brought to the forefront is that the United States is very reliant and very vulnerable to supply chains from China.
Yes.
They can close ports, they can tell people not to come to work, and that will actually affect the US more than China. So that idea of, hey, this is a problem, led the Trump administration, conservative advisors, etc., to ask the basic question: when were we, meaning the United States, the wealthiest and richest we've ever been in our 250-year history? That kind of first principles question led into the 1870 to 1910s, when there was no central bank, no income tax, and lots of tariffs. So tariffs don't work for every country, but the way that this administration views tariffs is as a really as an important tool in equalizing the rise of authoritarian regimes that enjoy globalization,
Yeah.
but also
Take
at
advantage.
the same time take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And it equalizes it without sacrificing the military or the armies, etc. It can end wars.
Yeah.
It can be used as leverage. And what's beautiful, at least with how it's done in the last few months, what Trump has proven to these regimes is that even in a democracy where the people can take to the streets, they can put a lot of pressure on the government, he can withstand that pressure. And effectively, when he raised tariffs to 150%, it was a total separation with China. Total separation.
Yeah.
There are no goods being transferred at 150% tariffs. And that really surprised those regimes.
Yeah.
That in the West, you have a leader that is willing to threaten and execute the threat.
Yeah.
And I think that effectively is what birthed that massive rise in gold and silver this year.
Yeah.
Because these countries...
You're not wrong.
That's good to know. So these countries really realized that we have no idea to what extent he would go.
Yeah.
He can close our banking system. He can shut us out of SWIFT, etc. And that's when, alongside with tariffs that really make them think about trade in a different way, and they can effectively lower their dollar reserves a lot with tariffs. They started to move towards gold. What I think is happening with silver specifically is because silver is not a precious metal. It's only about 30% precious metal and 70% jewelry and 50% 20% jewelry and 50% industrial.
Yeah.
What I think is happening with silver is quite unique. Because it was demonetized during the fiat monetary system by governments. Effectively, governments have stopped
Making coins out of
using
silver. Yeah.
they stopped using it as reserves. It got so cheap that suddenly, just like with Carnegie's steel 100 years ago, it became the favorite industrial metal for many uses, which were not available before. If you had a 20 or a 15 or a 12 to 1 ratio with gold right now, then silver would not be used in 5,000 different industrial applications. But because it was so cheap that there are even very few direct pure silver mines out there, its
Well,
attributes.
There's just no point in taking it out of the ground if it's that cheap. Why bother? And from my understanding, there's a lot of industrial mines that silver is almost a bit of a byproduct of their
70% of ounces are mined as a byproduct.
yeah,
70%.
and it's crazy,
Um,
isn't it?
it is.
With that ratio, and you're right, silver has felt cheap, I think, for a very long time. I've felt that silver's been cheap for a long time when you look at the relative price of gold and of course the value of our pounds, pennies, dollars and pence, in our bank accounts. It didn't feel right. So we're seeing that rebalance now. Do you think silver is still cheap now?
It is still cheap. That my big point to kind of drive home is that era of an artificially low silver that we have experienced is over, and this is very much normal.
Yeah.
60, 70, it will go to 80, it will probably go over $100, and that will be deemed as normal. Um, Even at 100, you're still talking about a 42 to 1 ratio with gold at today's prices.
Yeah.
So there's nothing weird about that at all.
So I
Keep
I
in
just
mind.
did. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say I did a video just this last week about the gold to silver ratio because not that long ago, 6 months ago, it was 100 to 1, and I did a video of a stack of 100 silver coins and 1 gold coin, and now that ratio is sitting around 68 to 1. And I feel, like you, I do genuinely feel that there's a lot more room to go. And that means in my head, either silver goes up or gold goes down. That's how that ratio continues to stretch. So what's more
Or they
likely?
both go up, but not in the same
They
percentage.
could do that, yeah. I mean, it's not that silver or gold is going to stay exactly the same. There'll always be fluctuations, but that relative movement, and I can't see gold going a lot lower from where we are. It's had that meteoric rise up, and it's like the baseline. Gold is always the baseline. Silver follows it and stretches that ratio. And you're saying there around 40 to 1 is a realistic ratio, and I do agree with you. Without being able to predict markets, I do think we're going to see, that stretching ratio. Do you think that there will be a change of sentiment towards silver when that sort of ratio is hit? Do you think people will go, oh, now silver's a little bit more expensive than it used to be, shift focus back to gold?
Well, like I said, I think what's driving the silver market right now to where it is industrial demand and not inflationary hedge
Yep.
/ retail demand. And when you look at what I've mentioned, which is Liberation Day,
Yeah.
which is the letter that the CCP sent to all of its trading partners regarding rare earth materials just 2 months ago, saying, look, we will decide how much you're going to get, and we basically control this, monopolize this. And that was a very threatening letter. And for the first time, it showed that, hey, we not only have soft power, but we are willing to use it. And that drove copper to an all-time high,
Yeah,
and silver.
Yeah.
I think that countries are now saying, how much am I willing to give up in sovereignty and in being open to influences from either China, Russia, Iran, and other countries, and from the other side, from the United States, Japan, and or Turkey, etc. The strong forces. How much am I willing to give up in my sovereignty and become some sort of a vessel state in order to appease this big country? And many of them are saying, well, what I want to do is I want to be brave enough to have my own reserves of gold, of silver, of medicine, of key industries, shipbuilding, military, etc.
Yeah.
So we are seeing countries going back, most countries going already understanding this and starting to go back to, I will buy from you, but I also want to make my own.
Yeah.
And that drives up the price because silver, predominantly being the number one best conductor of electricity of all metals, is in high demand because of the golden age in America and in other countries, their respective terms for what they're going through, which is reindustrialization and militarization.
Yeah.
And I think that is just the beginning. Therefore, there's a lot more to go because this is just the beginning. This is not like 1979 where this was an end to a 9-year period of readjustment. This is a beginning of a very long-term trend. Now, in the really short term, silver is very overbought. But I'm talking in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
It'll probably need some consolidation before it goes higher. But in general, I think we are.
It's a natural thing with any commodity in a market to have the ups
With
and
any
downs.
with any asset.
Yeah. And so I think what I've always said on my channel is always about responsible investing, and rather than like you'll hear a lot and you'll see a lot, and we've talked about it a lot in this video, that silver's great and we do think there's a lot more room for silver to grow. That doesn't mean that people should just go out and put their net worth on silver right now, or borrow copious amounts of money to go and put it all in silver because they think that tomorrow it's going to double. It's about a long-term hold, isn't it?
For me personally, of course, what you said is very much common sense. I think I've always maintained that gold and silver are catastrophe hedges.
Yes.
And therefore, the way I view them is I calculate my family units cash burn rate. So in other words, how much do we spend as a household every given month? I time that or multiply that by 24, so that gives me 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
And I want at least 2 years worth of my cash burn in gold and silver physical, at least.
Okay.
And then I look towards the 5% of net worth, which is higher, 24 months of savings or of expenses, or 5%, and I go towards the higher one.
It's interesting that you say 5%. There are a lot of articles and opinion pieces out there that say a gold-silver portfolio should form anywhere from 10 to 15% of a portfolio overall.
Well,
I suppose.
Just to give you an idea of the world, it's about 0.5 or 0.6% of in North America, in developed markets where they understand gold and silver, and it's part of their it's much more mainstream to have a bullion shop next to your house, etc. It's still 0.5%.
Gosh.
And
that's an average, though, isn't it? So there's a lot of people in the stacking world, in the stacking community that they know it, they've got it, and they've probably got a lot of people have probably got more than 10-15% in their net worth.
I think the next stage, what you're going to find out, is that you're going to see corporations starting to own precious metals on their balance sheet.
Yeah.
And that will make it much more mainstream.
Yeah.
And in the Indo-Pacific, especially in India, you're going to see rules change so that people can have precious metals in their pension funds. Okay. And that's going to put a lot of demand on this, especially silver. What's unique about silver, which I started to say earlier, is not only the industrial uses that have basically, this is something new in the 5,000 years of silver.
Yeah.
You know, the word silver in 70 languages free translates to money.
Yeah.
Okay, even in Hebrew, you know, when I look at your silver, we say kesef for silver, and we say also money is also kesef. Well, it's the same thing.
Even harking back to the Roman times, argentum, ag is the symbol, and argentum is the Latin for money. So
correct, or plata, or whatever
exactly.
Else. So this industrial uses, these 5,000 industrial uses in solar panels and everything else.
Yeah.
What it also does is it makes it so that a lot of the silver never gets recycled as well. So it's out of circulation, whereas gold is always in circulation. So I think that is going to be huge for silver going forward as well. I'm very bullish.
Just want to pick up on one thing you said. So one thing there about the 24 months worth, you said in holding it in physical. So you're a physical silver and gold stacker over, say, digital, for example.
In that regard, yes.
Yeah.
Over and above and beyond this, you can do other things as well. You can have a portfolio of companies from exploration, development, operational miners.
So I suppose it's down to your own individual preference and risk for whether you want to have 5% net worth in physical silver and gold. Depends on your net worth, really. If you've very high net worth individual, then that's a lot of silver to maybe store and keep and protect.
Yes, but you can also store it outside of your personal house.
Yeah.
A lot of easy options, a lot of jurisdictional options, etc. I think in general, I think in one generation from now, it will be very common for people to own precious metals again
Yeah.
in some form. We have gone astray from that, um, and especially in the West, because I don't know if collectively we felt invincible, or the dollar felt invincible. People just don't have a fear
Yeah.
of currency anymore as much as they're, if you ask our grandparents, they will tell you. Or if you go to the 54 African countries, I'm sure the parents are telling their children, at some point in the next 20 years, this currency will be zero.
Yeah.
So do something about it.
That's what worries me the most at the moment here in the UK. We just everything is getting more expensive, just even by the week, even by the day. Sometimes you go to the shops, and you come out with 20 items in your shopping cart, and it suddenly costs
That's
you
an interesting observation.
£70.
You feel it weekly, huh?
I really do. Like there are certain things that every week I'm just like, "Oh, that feels more expensive than it used to be," or this.
Wow.
So maybe not that the same thing has gone up each week, but periodically you go and buy the same thing,
basket, yeah.
and the basket is more expensive, and it's incremental, and it's like people bandy these terms around of saying, well, inflation's only at 2.5%, so it's down. It's really good. That's still 2.5% of your buying power that's gone from last year, and that's compounding on top of all the 3% the year before, the 11% the year before.
It's the slow bowl of compounding.
Yeah, and that's what worries me a lot. And having the physical stuff here,
yes,
allows me to have that protection, so that if and when I need a cash influx, I have got that buying power protected, which is really
at the end of the day, gold is the best performing asset of the 21st century.
Yeah,
that
100%.
That is,
and whilst
shows you everything.
Silver is on a journey right now. Where that journey will end, the moon, who knows? It could be even the stars beyond the moon. I'm still ultimately more invested in gold than I am silver because of the flexibility that gold allows you. The value to weight ratio, the storage, the security. There's a lot more in favor for gold, but as a hedge, as a way to play the markets and gain even more value, I do think silver's got a lot more of a role to play coming forward.
Well, actually, with this recent rise, I should
we should probably check those figures.
Yeah, you should check, because I believe on January 1st, 2000, gold was around 250. So with 4,300, it's up around 16 times, and silver would be around $4 to 64. That's also 16 times. It's worth taking a quick
it's definitely worth looking at. I mean, the cheapest silver I've ever bought from a bullion dealer was about £11 an ounce, and that was just after COVID hit, because if you remember, there was a massive crash in silver price just that week after COVID. And I got on the phone to my supplier in Europe and I said, what have you got? Have you got anything? And he went, well, look, everyone's calling me up and I can only allocate so much to you. So I only got 10 kilos. But even so, 10 kilos at £11 an ounce, it was just like a golden time. It took 9 months to get it delivered because COVID.
Wow.
Yeah, COVID got everything shut down and the supplier couldn't get it. But all the way through, it was coming from Europe, so it was an international thing. The supplier was based in Eastern Europe, so getting it out from Eastern Europe to Estonia and then Estonia to me, there was just a lot of issues. But the dealer in question, I had complete faith in, and all along the way, I was like, I'm going to get this, aren't I? And he was, very much so.
9
Don't
months.
worry about it.
It took as much as a baby.
Yeah, I know, right? But it was worth it in the end, because the silver is just is crazy. But now buying anything at that price, you just think, oh, that's impossible. Of course, it's impossible with the spot price.
It is impossible. We are
well beyond that, and
we're well beyond that, because the realization is here. Really, it's to give you an idea, and I'm sure you're already thinking about this, but just think about how natural it's been in the last 80 years to say Europe and the United States in the same sentence, as if they're one block or one country or one ideology, and you're seeing
literally in the NATO. That's what everyone assumes and believes, isn't it? So.
Yes, and now you're really seeing a separation. There is a separation. It's real, and it has consequences. And it just shows you more that what we're going through right now is very unique.
Yeah.
We are entering a whole new period in statesmanship and in history, and in the identity of nations. And that's really important,
Yeah.
because if you don't understand that, then you're thinking, okay, well, silver's up 100% this year. How much more can it go?
Yeah.
But if you realize the big picture, um, then it's different.
It changes
Once you
your
see it,
changes your
you
outlook
can't
on
unsee
things.
it.
You can't exactly. You can't, and that's why this whole rise in silver feels different, not just to me and you, but all the bullion dealers that I speak with on a regular basis. They've never seen anything like this. They've never seen the demand like this. They've never seen supply issues like they've had. It's crazy.
So your bullion dealers are showing you there's a lot of demand.
A lot. Like,
And how about people coming in to sell?
so that's the other thing, that they do have people selling, but nowhere near anywhere what you would expect, considering where the prices are. And for me,
Well, that's good.
yeah, it is. I've run a sort of little selling semi business myself, where I help buyers find sellers on a sort of secondary hand market, and I've got like hardly any inquiries coming through. People don't want to sell, and when they do want to sell, inverted commas, they often are doing it a very much a speculative. Can I get X price for it? You know, with a high premium on top of it, because they're just going to reinvest the money into something else like gold or buy other cheap silver. So there's a lot of opportunism out there. There's a lot of people trying to take advantage of the premiums, but not a lot of people genuinely trying to cash out of their positions.
That's good.
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty telling of where things are going to be for a long way into the future. So yeah, interesting times. Anyway, Leo, we've talked for a long time. I think perhaps we should wrap things up a little bit, if that's all right.
Absolutely.
Otherwise,
sure.
we'll, because what I do on my channel, Leo, is I have what I call the cool kids, people who watch the video until the end of the video. So we're only talking right now to a select few of very cool individuals who like to watch and listen to the end. And what I tend to do with them, Leo, is ask them to quote a phrase down in the comment section so that we know that they still listen.
You're testing
So
them.
I'm gonna put you on the spot now and ask you for some kind of little phrase that you'd like to have people comment down below that would let us know that they are watching still.
Okay. And I'll leave you with something to really think about,
Yeah.
in terms of the Fed.
Okay.
Because not only are we going to get a new Fed chair in June, which is 6 months away, I think that you will see, and this is the phrase, you will see the end of the independence of the Fed. And that is a great phrase to put in the comments if you
Okay.
stuck this far. And instead of the independence of the Fed, what will now, because that is celebrated as if
Yeah.
it's, the Fed has to remain independent. Independent from what? Independence from politics.
Yeah.
As if the Fed is this neutral institution that makes informed decisions without any emotions, or it's like these elites of the bureaucracy. What you're going to see instead celebrated is the unity and the cooperation between the Fed and the Treasury,
Yeah.
because that will actually lead to far better results.
Yeah.
And that is the real change. The markets are not pricing this in, because if they were, they would be talking much more about lower rates, which is what the Treasury really wants.
Yeah.
And we're not seeing that yet. That is a huge catalyst for 2026 that isn't priced in at all.
Okay. Something to look at in 2026. Yes. And I will remind all of our listeners that there are some incredible free reports linked down in the description box below from Leo's organization, the wealthresearchgroup.com, specifically links to some of your 2026, is it right to say predictions or like forecasts, I suppose, or opinions about?
Yeah, it's a analysis and a forecast about silver.
There we go. Yeah.
With the 2026 silver report, and the second one is wealthresearchgroup.com/EU, because I think that most people just don't understand how much the relationship with the United States and Europe has changed and will continue to change in the coming years. And
Yeah.
if you read that report, you will really understand that it's not just talk; it's policy.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, some great insights from you today, Leo. Thank you so much for taking the time to have a chat with us. A good old precious metal ramble.
Thanks,
Thank you, and good luck for 2026 as a silver investor. I think it's going to be an interesting year ahead. We'll have to see where it goes.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for watching. If you haven't already commented on this, please share your opinions. And if you're not subscribed to our channel, then subscribe. Otherwise, that's it from us. We'll see you all on the next video. As always, please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.